Koch Memorial Gardens, also known as Deering Gardens, are located on the north and south sides of Deering Library. A short wall outlines the periphery of the gardens. Between the walls is a metallic gate that leads to the flight of stairs that lead to the garden. A paved pathway, made from pieces of stone, leads to one of the entrances of Deering Library on either side. An alternative, unpaved path leads deeper into the garden and terminates at the statues of either Ceres or Diana. In the early 1900s, Lunt Library, now Lunt Hall, was the main library for Northwestern. In 1919, the university employed a new librarian, Theodore W. Koch. Koch quickly realized that there were many problems with the current library. Its book collections were limited, and its spaces were overcrowded. Koch envisioned a new library as a living world, and every book a man, absolute flesh and blood. His dream was finally realized when the Deering family donated more than $1 million in commemoration of Charles Deering. Construction of a new library began soon after. For the construction, prominent architect James Gamble Rogers was employed. Rogers had previously been working on the Sterling Memorial Library at Yale. Similar to the Sterling Memorial Library, Deering was built in the collegiate Gothic style, had a motte-style architecture, and was ornamented with sculptures. Koch, however, insisted on having gardens in the moats of the new library. The gardens, later renamed after him, have evolved to become a classical feature on Northwestern's campus. Inspired by the gardens of the earlier civilizations of the Near East, Egypt, and Greece, the Romans developed their gardens to serve a variety of functions. In ancient Rome, gardens facilitated the enjoyment of leisure and the arts, promoted health and exercise, and enabled intellectual pursuits. Just like the Romans held intellectual conversations while walking around the gardens to boost both their physical and mental wellness, similarly, Koch envisioned the library gardens as a space where students could enjoy pleasant weather while also studying. In the northern garden is a sculpture of the goddess Ceres, or Demeter, in Greek mythology. Classically, Ceres has been the goddess of agriculture and grain. In antiquity, she was credited for teaching man how to grow, preserve, and prepare grain and corn. However, she was not originally meant to be part of the garden. She was part of the estate of Charles M. Schwab, a billionaire in Pennsylvania. However, Schwab went bankrupt in the Great Depression, and the statue was acquired by Koch as a gift from Miss John Zane, the widow of the Caxton Club president. Ceres' presence now in one of the library gardens indicates a learning environment where she teaches the essential lessons of life. In the southern garden of Deering, there is a statue of the goddess Diana, also known as Artemis in Greek mythology. The statue was sculpted by Anna Huntington, one of the most prominent sculptors of her age. The statue of Diana was a gift from Huntington to the university and was a replica of one of her award-winning sculptures, Diana of the Chase. The sculpture depicts Diana with a hound and a bow aimed at the sky. One possible interpretation of the sculpture is that Huntington believes women should aim for the sky and break the glass ceiling. In Roman theology, Diana was believed to be the goddess of wild animals, hunt, and the moon, as well as the goddess of women and children. She was also attributed as the giver of light. Most relevantly, Diana was the divider of civilization and the natural world. Her presence in the Deering Library suggests the divide between the educated world of the library and its surroundings. She evokes the idea that the library is the center of civilization, and her duty is to protect it. All can see in the shining places vestiges of her classic graces, where her footsteps, fleet and stark, have beautifully embossed the dark. The long breadth hounds are heard to bay over the hills and far away, and lovers who walk at love's high noon see something flash in the light of the moon.